Okay, so I'm going to try and make this video not 20 minutes. Welcome to episode 2. All right, it's wintertime and people are wondering, what the heck can I do to prepare for spring now that will help me out in the long run later? Right now, it's the middle of winter, so not a lot of people are going to be selling the starter plants right now. So you can, or the seeds right now. You can get seeds, but they're not going to be as popular. I suggest getting your seeds now before spring, simply because the time that they put the starter plants out, it's going to be a little bit too late in order to start your seeds. So keep that in mind. When they put the starter plants out, do not buy the seeds for those starter plants because you're cutting that growing season shorter, because it's going to take a lot of time for the sprouts to pop up before they become mature plants, before you can get something off of that plant. So I would say go ahead and start getting your seeds now. A lot of y'all are going to be like, well, where can I get organic seeds from, and how you know what's your good seeds? I normally shop around. I have been using the Grass to Roots. It's a Black-owned company. They have seeds. There was another creator on this app. I don't know if she's still on this app or not. But I was getting my seeds from her. Two Women a Wagon is another creator. I'm not sure if she's still on this app because I know a lot of creators aren't on here due to what happened to TikTok in the last 48 hours. So some people can't get back on. I don't know if she's one of those people. But Grass to Roots is a good company. They're organic. They are a Black-owned company too, so you're actually doing a bonus help by helping them. And you can normally just go to like your local Home Depot or your Lowe's. We call them big box stores, and you can get your seeds from there. But stock up while you can, because they're going to be a little bit more expensive in the springtime, especially once gardening season starts picking up around March, April. Yeah, so go ahead and get them while you can. Now, along with soil, that's going to be the big thing here. One of the big costs when growing is going to be your soil. If you are starting off in pots, i.e. pots, this probably will not apply to you as much as if you were growing out in raised beds like out here. Grow bags go in the same way too. You're going to be like, what the heck is a grow bag? That's a grow bag. It's a fabric pot. If you're doing pots / grow bags, you can get away with buying the bags in the soil. I don't recommend it, but you can. What do you mean by that? If you ever gone to Lowe's or Home Depot and seen the Miracle Grow bags, and they normally come in like the $5 bags, the $10 bags, the $15 bags, and like the $20 bags. You can get away with getting bags from the big box store if you're going in pots and if you're growing in grow bags. I don't recommend going with Miracle Grow simply because they have a lot of chemicals and fertilizers in their soils. A lot of y'all are going to be like, but I thought fertilizers were good. And a lot of y'all are going to be like, what the heck is a fertilizer? A fertilizer is something that you put in the soil to feed the soil, because your plants take up the nutrients and the water that's in the soil. So you feeding the soil feeds your plants. Hindsight. So you can get away with buying the bags, but I don't recommend going with Miracle Grow. Like I said, I started out with them. It's okay if that's all you got, but they're full of chemicals and pesticides, and if you're going to be eating and using your stuff that you're growing, you kind of don't want to be eating and using all of that. So I will have to do a list into some research on what is okay, because I stopped buying the bags. If you go to one of my pinned videos, you'll see a big giant yellow bag. That's where I get my soil from. Now you can see, because I know they're only doing it in like 4 states right now. I know, in fact, for Georgia, they do deliver and do this in Georgia. But for all the other states, you can check online to see if they deliver to you. I would also try and stock up on some of the fertilizers while you can, because they're going to be a little bit cheaper now because it's winter and not a lot of people are buying this up right now versus in the springtime. I'm not sponsored by any of these brands. This is literally just what I've been using for the past couple years. But I'll show you. I have a video. You can check the last video on my tube of view of what they look like. But this brand right here, it's called Espoma. They make great organic fertilizers. They have an all-natural one called Garden Tone, and you can use that just about all-purpose for whatever you're growing. But if you're trying to get specifics, they do have stuff specifically for tomatoes. Stuff is specifically for the berries. Stuff specifically for like your citrus loving stuff. So I would say stock up on them because number one, they're organic, and number two, buying your fertilizers now and pesticides now is going to be a little bit more cheaper than it would be in the springtime. What else can I talk about? Now, I don't specifically start all my plants indoors. I do have followers who do. I will look into some research on what to do. But for basic sake, if you are growing indoors and you don't have great sunlight where you're at, I would say invest in what do you call that? A grow light. You want a full spectrum grow light. So what it does is if you can't grow outside, it mimics the rays and the light of the sun indoors, inside. Okay. So like I said, if you can't grow outside, you can always grow inside. They do have some that have timers on them. I believe I have one linked into my Amazon right now. I'm probably gonna have to get rid of Amazon due to everything that's going on with the CEOs and everything. So bear with me on to where you can find it. I can see if I can find it on the tickety tockety. I'll look into it. But you want something that says full spectrum grow light because it's gonna mimic the rays of the sun. That's what you need. Trying to think of anything else. Soil, pots, because if you can't grow in ground, or you can't do raised beds and you don't have a lot of space, there are two options in which I will say that you can do. Option one, you could always do pots. Now I prefer, because pots get expensive the more gallon size, i.e. how much dirt will fit into them versus, so you can get away with like the cheap pots. That's going to be a little bit harder. Now, if you want to do a good cause, because some of the plastics are not all that great and conducive to growing, especially if you're doing food, you want food safe plastic. If you do want to do a good cause, you could always go to Firehouse Subs. I'm not sponsored by none of these people. Where's my little bucket at? Gotta go find my little bucket. Anyway, you can get a bucket. Bear with me. Please don't let no spiders be up in here. I'm not trying to be eaten up by the spiders. I'm not trying to be eaten up by the spiders. I don't know where my bucket went. I think my husband moved it. Anyway, for about $3 to $5, you can get a 5-gallon safe bucket. Okay. That's normally what they get their pickles and stuff shipped in. You can also go to Kroger, ask their bakery section, ask them when cream cheese day is. Normally when Kroger or Sam's Club, just ask the bakery section. They get their icing in like the same 5-gallon buckets, so they're food grade safe buckets. I know for a fact Firehouse, they sell the buckets for like $3 to $5. I think for $5 you get the bucket and the lid. I think for $3 you just get the bucket. But if you're going the bakery section for like Kroger and you're going that route, first of all, what you're going to do is you're going to call them, ask them, hey, what day do you get your cream cheese shipments? Are y'all saving the containers? If not, if you're going to throw them away, can I have them? Okay. But if you're going that route, just ask them what day it is, but it's like a 5-gallon safe bucket. What you're going to do is you're going to go home and you're going to drill holes at the bottom of the daggone bucket so that when you water said whatever you're going to plant in there, it has somewhere to drain and get out of. You could do it that way. I've seen people grow like fruit trees in them 5-gallon buckets. I've seen people grow potatoes in the 5-gallon buckets, lettuce, but it's normally one plant per bucket. I would suggest, if you have the space and if you can put them outside, depending on your location, you could always get the grow bags. To me, I switched out from, I was originally in the little plastic, little $1, $2, $5 pots, and realized that that stuff was actually kind of expensive, buying all that. So I switched to grow bags. They're basically fabric pots. I think I have some linked in my little tiki-talkie shop. But they're fabric pots, and basically you can grow out of them. You don't have to worry about your pots getting root bound. Y'all are gonna be like, what the heck is root bound? Root bound is basically when the roots can't really spread out the way they want to, so they just spiral around, and it ends up kind of like choking the plant out in a way. But you don't have to worry about them in that. The only problem is when you get to watering, because it's not a plastic pot, it's a fabric pot, it'll kind of leach out all over the place. So I suggest, if you're gonna go that route, get you something to put up under the pots to catch the water per se. But yeah, I've grown everything out of them, from corn to potatoes, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. Yeah, it can be done. And they normally come in like a pack of 5 to 10. So you can kind of stock up on them now. My next thing would be looking to, what am I gonna say? Mulch. You can stock up now if you want to, because it's gonna be cheaper now than it would be in the spring and summertime. I know a lot of y'all gonna be like, but Home Depot and Lowe's got like deals on mulch during the summertime. You don't want the colored mulch, because it's got dyes and stuff in it, and that goes back into leaching into your soil, which your plants are going to be picking up. And if you don't want to be doing that. You can do cedar, you can do leaves, you can do glass clippings. Just look into some mulch if you're going to go buy them. I know that Tractor Supply has the cedar bedding. I used that this year. It worked fine. Last year I used what was it? Lowe's. They have cedar mulch. It's about like $5-6 a bag. It's like 2 cubic feet per bag. But yeah, you can do that. Now, if you do have the space and you are willing to go in ground, and this is your first time, I suggest getting your soil in ground tested. I know that Home Depot sells the kits. I know that Lowe's sells a little soil testing kits, because certain parts of the country, the soil is not all great. And sometimes the soil is you're gonna have to feed it. You're gonna have to add stuff to it in order to make it kind of conducive to growing whatever the fuck you're trying to grow. So I would suggest go ahead and look into that. I haven't had to amend none of my soil in ground. I'm in raised beds in my backyard right now. And like I said, I just get like a bag of soil delivered to my house. Now, if you are going to go the bag route and fill in your raised beds, you can look into lining the bottom of your raised beds with like branches and sticks and stuff. People do it all the time. Just be careful where you get your stuff, because it will break down and biodegrade into your soil. So I hope that helps, especially if you're trying to prepare for spring, because I'm looking into stocking up on all my fertilizers in the next couple of weeks, stocking up on amendments to mend my soil, like manure, black cow, just to coat the top of my bed so that it's okay. But yeah, so if you're trying to figure out what you're trying to do, I would say figure out what you're going to grow, what you're going to put your stuff in, how you're going to feed your soil. And most of the time it's cheaper to buy it now than it would be to buy it in spring, because everybody and their mama likes to wait until spring comes, because they're like, oh, the plants are here, oh, da, 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 da. It's going to be a lot expensive, because a lot of people are going to be doing the same thing. So I hope that helps. Bye.